we're specialising in technology. Righto. Welcome. We open the meeting at 6:30. So, apologies, leave of absence. We have no apologies, but I'm assuming we've got a leave of absence. Must come to you. We've got an apology. Oh, have we? Yeah. Yeah. Councillor Michelle. Councillor Michelle. Councillor Michelle. Thank you. Again. So I didn't have that down here. Yeah, we absent. Confirmation of council minutes. Recommendation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held Wednesday, 15th of October 2025 be taken as read and confirmed. That Luke, second and Neville. Does anyone want to speak to that? Any issues? All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. 4, Mayor's opening remarks. I think I just want to make a remark both to the chamber and I guess to the 3 people watching that I think the public consultation today has gone well in the sense that people have, for the most part, conducted themselves well, been respectful, a couple of blows, but not much. And that's all we can ask is that people share their differing views in a respectful and polite way. And I think we're doing that and that will lead to better outcomes. So I guess I'm thankful to the chamber and to the public that came and hopefully we continue that at our next meeting and from there on. That's it for me. Declaration of conflicts of interest. Do we have any? No, not forming anything tonight. Petitions, there are none. Deputations, 7.1. Rebecca Pudney, Senior Ranger, Murraylands National Parks and Wildlife Services, SA. Like to grab your spot and the floor is yours.
Must stand up, is that all right?
Yeah.
I just thought I'd come to you by sharing it. Come here tonight and talk about some progress we made with our NARCAT or our idea of what NARCAT that we're doing in regard to interpretation into the park. So I'll talk a bit about that and then I've just asked if you guys want a little brief information of what I've learned in doing the interpretation side of things about the board track. It's a really interesting story. I'd just like to share it. Some bits you might know, some bits you might not. It might be all new, who knows? But I just thought I'd share that with you guys. So please keep on me. Yeah. So firstly, we'll go and I'll run it through pretty quick, but we've got a NARCAT interpretation plan. So next slide. So we sat down with the Riverland guys because obviously we're Riverland and Murraylands District. So we're competing for resources. So we sat down with the Riverland guys and worked out where our properties are, what do we want to sell, who's our demographic, who comes to our parks. We engaged a person called Shirley. He's a very good interpreter. He added that for us. Next slide. So we worked out our visitor numbers, where they're actually going in our region. As you can see, NARCAT actually hits quite high, second to no property of the visitors. Next slide. Yep. So then we look at the area. We come up with what we call here, this is our take off down hunters. They sing in harmony to protect the. Yeah. So that's why I put them. Anyway, so these are our sites. These are the sites that we picked that we would like to vet into. NARCAT made it. So that means I'm proposals together into it to then get some money to maybe do something in NARCAT to help our business. Next slide. Okay, so we looked at specifically NARCAT. So we sort of found out that most people, when they come, they want to know about the local animals and culture. We also found out that's just a statewide thing. People love park rangers and as well. That's picking up quite regularly. It's interesting. I found actually stuck on their phone. They want to read it on their phones. They don't want to pressure it. Which I found really interesting. They want interactive maps. They want plant and animal guides. And they actually want some audio as well. I actually hear it. So you can see that people are picking up it's receiving information here. Okay. We also look at who actually is coming, and we do that by our entry and we find that with little couples with no children are probably Then second to that is the young couple. and then lastly, we get through with children. We find the family, but here we get the ones with no children mostly. Yeah. Next one. All right. So we get it all that into each share of sheet, and she comes up with a few items. Things we came up with real brown things. So one of the ones we came up with is the Insta moment, which I'll tell more about, the border dispute and the dingoes, then and also audio tour, and then upgrading our general entry zone so they're coming to the park and what that looks like, and that's more about presentation. So I'll talk about each one next. So we go to the next one. So we've done this, border track Insta moment. People are coming down, take a photo of themselves, whacking on Instagram, saying they've been. And so we've gone and put this in. This copy is about 12 mil steel. That's on the middle of the portrait. So anyone actually drive two-way actually get there to take a photo. We've left enough room so they can get their cars around it because everyone has their car and they're there. So we left them there so they can go down and take a photo. That's a picture. That's so the next one is the disputed border. So people, this links in a little bit with Artichow and Dangali and their interpretation plan. So people can pick up the border at Dangali, follow it all the way through. And these can be state heritage looking signs so that it's consistent from that. Right? There is no inter between, there's maybe a sign up near Renmark and there's a sign down near Nelson. And there's just been a sign. But other than that, there is nothing in between. It's an amazing story, which I'll give you a little touch on this afternoon. So they're at Henley Street, so people stop for lunch. It's a big trick point. People stop, look out, they can see the border track north and south. And it's a really good spot. Shady, we'll put some signs up there. Yep, next one. People want to know about the flora and fauna. We're very special here. We've got a type of dingo, love it or hate it. It's very political in nature. But people want to know about it. So we put both sides of the story up here. We put a picture of a dingo, and we tell about how good it is and how bad it is, and whether we check it or we don't check it. So we put both sides of the story, but at least we're telling people about it. So that's going to go on the answer. It is brand part it's sort of today, but it's not state origin stuff it's talking about today. However, we got a little bit down about doggers that used to be there, that used to manage the doggers, put Kelly's in the home, and we'll keep that state origin. Yep. Cool. Another one that so those signs cost me about, I think it was about 9,000 all up, and they're just up there in print, ready to go into the ground by March. So now we got the border audio tour. So people want audio tours. It's a new trend. People love hearing about the environment. We figured they're driving down the border track. They've got 4 hours in a vehicle. Why don't we utilise that 4 hours and play something to the radio through them? Instead of, they don't stop. They don't stop. They will stop maybe at Hensley Street to have but other than that, we're going to talk to them why they. This is where we put the audio to come handy. So we'll talk about responsible forward drives, market in general. If we can get it going, that's who they want to hear from. Talk about ecology, a bit about fire management, they do go through that. And there's a really good guy that did this book, which we'll talk about later, and maybe get him as the person to talk about the border track and then talk about the videos and have these as separate audio. What it looks like, I do not know what media I use. I do not know. We're just about to go back to Cherish Sheep, engage her to start us off. And it's going to be a 2-year program. And we're going to probably spend about 10 years of that at the start, scoping out and getting things correct. And then $10,000. That's, through committees and putting it all together. And what it looks like here, too short, but the thing is that people will be able to download a series of podcasts and listen to them. Next one. And then in the end, we got all obviously we need to upgrade our entrance signs. They're getting a little bit busy. They're getting a little bit older. 10, 20 years to the traps in part. So we need to update these. We probably update those signs because we have to go through these songs and the proper thing. So, cool. So that's pretty well, that's what we're future. So we're looking at probably 10, 15 grand, and we're looking at spending about 20 grand in the next 2 years to hopefully maybe it's not more about it's about their visitor experience when they're here. So they're not leaving in the top with no further appreciation. Other people are coming. Knowing I'm tired. This is pretty, there's lots of stories in between, but I'll tell you the general gist. Has anyone heard of this beautiful? Yeah. Yeah. Has anyone heard of Edward Rigby White? Edward Rigby White? No, perfect. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to tell you something today. Okay, so next slide. In 1918, sorry, I'll get my 18 and 19 mixed up, so bear with me. 1836, the colony of South Australia was declared sitting in an office like this in London. And next slide, and they said the eastern boundary of South Australia will be on 141 meridian. That's right. And mind you, just be aware Victoria didn't exist at this time, New South Wales and South Australia. So 141 meridian, that's where the eastern border of South Australia will be. But where the hell is that going to ground? So, okay, next one. Okay, so they gave someone called Tyler, Captain Charles Tyler. He was first engaged to try and find out where the Glenelg River hit sea, and in doing so, hoping to find out where the 141 meridian was. Okay, so he got sent off from Geelong and Melbourne. He used a variety of things. He used the Sydney Observatory, which comes really important later on, so just remember that. He used the solar noon. He used a bit of triangulation using the hills and a bit of triangulation. He used distance and direction, but he also used this Gunter chain. You've probably heard of chaining. He chained from Glenelg to Geelong River. Like chained it, like literally dragging the chain and measuring tallies across the ground as he went. Like, oh my God, just absolutely crazy. Next one. So when he got to Nelson down here, he actually marked in the sand. But because he had to use all those different calculations, he couldn't do that in the field. He had to take them to look and actually use more detailed calculations, which will take him months in order to be able to truly say that that's where the is. But he temporarily marked it. Next slide. Okay. Meanwhile, doing this, the New South Wales convict colony was actually moving across to South Australia because that was the free colony. They're moving across there. All right, so there was a lot of interchange with this border. There was people taking passport leases. There was people trying to buy land. They couldn't buy land and they didn't even know who it was. To do that to New South Wales or to South Australia, they were squatting. All right. Police had no restrictions because they didn't know where the actual border was. It was moving about over this land during this period. Next slide. So South Australia, in their wisdom, in 1844, said, well, this would be a bit practical here. Instead of picking a line which nobody knows that is, let's use some landmarks. So they picked the green line. So they picked the Glenelg River, Wimmera River, going up through the Darling. It's still in the land. It's really fun and Christian. We're coming to the county, we're going river up to the top. And you can imagine what South Australia said, no way. So they're still stood. So next one. Stood. Okay, so with the 141, so in 1846, so this is 2 years after the proposal of the normal board using landmarks, Henry Wade was appointed in New South Wales. He was a pretty good surveyor. He's just finished surveying Brisbane at this stage, and he was elected by New South Wales to be the New South Wales representative survey. South Australia, in their wisdom, picked the troublesome prone son of a squatter, someone called Edward Rigby White. The problem when I did the sign is there's actually no known photo of him, which is quite disappointing because he's the main one that comes through NARCAT. So Edward Rigby White was there. Okay, next one. Okay, so they got their lot. At this stage, those calculations were finished. Nobody could agree on actually the longitude. So what they did is they said, okay, of all those calculations, like, you know, so let's do them then. So that was to define the Tyler Valley and progress another 3.6 kilometres further into South Australia and start there and head north. So that's what they did. They started there, but based on the time. And so yeah, next one, headed north. They when they started down there in March, they headed through like Dismal Swamp, you know, in like winter period, so Dismal Swamp. They went through Little Desert. They not only did they just looked at and surveyed, they actually cleared out 20 metres. They cleared the scrubbers that went up to 20 metres. So pretty well. Some people doing that nowadays, clearing 20 metres. They had to push all that through. Well, anyway, they got just north of the border down here, and they pretty well were hitting middle of winter by that time, July, and they couldn't get supplies down. It was too wet. They just couldn't get their drays through, and nobody wanted to go into this tree. That's they're going to get faulted. So they terminated the survey there. So that's where Wyatt, the main driver, the surveyor, he terminated his survey there and said, I went back and said, this is where the border is going to, this is where the border is. New South Wales said, yep, we'll clear the border. South Australia said, yep, we'll do this one. So this bit here is a definite South Australia, New South Wales, Victoria. So not needing until half done. Yep, another slide. What went back up there on the April? He started down the border, got a year together, got his men together. It was actually 4 months until he actually got by the time he went through all the swamps and got his through. There's lots of different stories there. This book here is absolutely amazing. It tells you everything I'm saying today. I had used other resources for the sign, but this one, I even actually had a chance to meet the guy and talk to him, which was really, really good. So yeah, they progressed up. Little did they know that the swamp wasn't too bad compared to the mallet. Mallet really, really struggled. They tore shreds up their clothes, they ripped gallows in the side of the horses. They actually had to wear leather on their, they cut leather and strapped it to their arms so they could actually clear the scrub as they go. The mallee with sand was a lot harder to get the drays through than what they found to the south. But they progressed really, really well. So 1 month later, they camped at Scorpion. They found some water there and camped there. But water was getting quite scarce. You're talking October, so nearly coming into summer. Water was getting quite scarce. They pushed further up to Bavinga, just north of Bavinga there, and then they ran out of water. They had to retreat. So they buried everything they had, the non-extension. So they buried their dray, the whole dray. They actually dug a hole and just buried it. All their other machine, the stuff they had, they buried it, knowing that they're going to come back. So they went back to Scorpion Soak, knowing that that was a proper water source. Well, they got back there and it was all dry. Some bullocks were dying because there was no water there. There is a story about a pastoralist coming and drinking all the water. So there was no water. So that was making bad dash down. Wyatt managed to find a little bit of water. So basically sleeping the day in the night with no water. In 2 weeks they made it. Only 4 days later, Wyatt goes, well, men, you can stay here, stay at the termination point. I'm going to take 2 horses and I'm going to go and suss out how much further we got to go and whether I can find any water source before I bring you guys up. So 4 days later, after nearly dying of thirst, Wyatt grabs a board, it walks another one and heads north up to the border trail. So he went up as far as about 2.5 k's short of the River Murray. His first horse went down, lack of water, 2 days with no water. His first horse went down. He walked his other, he got off his horse, walked his other horse a little bit further. However, that frail. His tongue was swollen. He's got blurred vision. He's already sorry. He's got blurred vision. Not sweating anymore. So what he did, he knew an old trick. He actually bled his horse. He slit and drank pints of the horse's blood, which was thick and horrible. But he managed to revive himself to get some 20 k's by himself to the Murray to get a drink. So there, he spent a day or so recovering. And then he actually went back to walk back to get the scale of his horse, and his horse was perished. So he grabbed his scale and walked back to the river. This is amazing stuff. Anyway, so yeah, next slide. So yeah, so he got to the River Murray. He grabbed Chowler and Chowler tried to catch a ship from Adelaide to Port, couldn't. So he ended up riding back to the termination point. Because he had a couple of months had gone by and they're quite concerned about him, so they sent a black train that they didn't know whether they were alive or dead. They're sitting there waiting for that. Anyway, he shows up. So, let's go. We're going to do this. Piles them all up again. Stands them up the top again. All right, we're talking August. Gets up the top in September. Once again, not out of water. These men are thirst, like they really need some water. Once again, he's about, I don't know how short it was, I'm not too sure, but he resigns from the survey again and he makes it down to the river. Gets to the river, and then he's met with a bit of a mutiny. So, but he still had to go back and survey about 5 or 6 k's of, I think it was a little bit more than that, I think it was about 20 k's of water. He still had to go back and survey that and clear it. But he's got no men to do it. So he had to sort of bargain with them. Anyway, in December 1850, he finished the book. Survey was done after nearly 3 different times. So it was done. So he filed that. The only thing is when he went and did the board, he surveyed multiple and there was sandhill, top of the there was no metal back then. He didn't use metal stakes, he used wooden stakes. In early 1851, next slide, there was a huge big bushfire. And you can see the Black Thursday bushfires wiped out, I think, 5 million hectares across New South Wales and South Australia. All right, burned these states. So over the years that post-followed this fire, all these states were burnt. The ones that were burnt were termite, and the winds that happened with the blowing of the sand because of the fires just basically cleared off all his mounds. So especially through Narcat. 27 years later, a surveyor went out there to try and find it. He could only find a couple of cans made of limestone rocks to the north, which is just south of the river there. And he could only find evidence up to about Mount Shaw Track, which is the 36th parallel he found there. So in between there and the river, there was no evidence of any clearing because all the veg is growing back 27 years later and no survey markers. So all that hard work that White had done to mark the border of South Australia has been perished. So what do we do? Next one. Okay, so it sits there pretty well, still in where is the border? We have squatters and pastoralists and tax issues. In 1868, they put a telegraph line from Adelaide to Sydney through, and so they could use time stamps. This went through the riverland up north, so they actually had better time stamps. But also during that time, there was actually massive changes in the Sydney Observatory, where they believe they were, where Sydney Observatory was actually on the ground. All right. So as you can see, at one stage in 1858, it was 4 kilometres out. 4 kilometres. We're talking, imagine we're doing a border track here. We're doing a border here. 4 kilometres means kilometres in both of those states. Okay, next slide. Great. So it worked out that the wage line, where they had picked up those limestone cans, and then the time stamp from the telegraph line and the observatory, they're about 3.3 metres, 3 k's out. All right, where they thought to where the thing. So hence it's beautiful. Some Australian rivers, they should be getting Victoria's at New South Wales at the time, so this land, we should be having it. So that's the dispute, that's where the disputed water comes about. All right, there were legal disputes, there were planned invasions, there were high courts, and it went right up to the Privy Council. So in 1914, next slide. In 1914, it went up to the Privy Council of London, and they basically said, we will survey them. No questions. To ignore the whole Sydney Observatory, ignore the whole time signals of the telegraph line. We paid 2 surveys to go out. That's what they did with the best information they had at that time. So the border will be there. But 250 kilometres of it, it's not there. And that's where it stands today. Next slide. To add to the story, there's more. I'm nearly done. Sorry. there is more. So in 1859, they sent contractors into dingoes and rabbits at this stage. We're going absolutely crazy dingoes and rabbits. And they come up with this really good idea to fence them out to New South Wales, to fence them over that way so that's breed. So they sent fencing down into the Nuncat and out to the Mallee River. The only thing is, fencing contractors aren't surveys. So what they did is they picked up down the bottom to about Mount Shore, they picked up what they could find, a Waite and White's line. Then they saw just over there freshly cut tracks of fencing of land divisions that's happened in Victoria. So off they went over there. We'll follow that. That goes due north. We'll follow that. So that's where they put the fence. Only to little when they got up to the northern end, they found actually the white cans of where the limestone cans. Oh shit, we're meant to be over there. So over they went over there. So what we've ended up with is a fence that's not even on the border and it's crooked. If you have a look at it, the fence is actually crooked. There's two 90-degree dog on the fence. Okay, next slide. So to explain it a little better, so we're on Hensley Street, we're on the border track, and we're looking north. So left-hand side, South Australia, right-hand side, Victoria. So the actual border is 600 metres-ish at Hensley Street in the park, unmarked. Our border, South Australia, is not marked. It's in the park somewhere. All right. Then on the other hand, where the border should have been, if we used timestamp and the technology at the time when Tyler put the arrow in, or when Wade and White started his survey down at the river, at the sea, the border should have been to our right 3 kilometres. So we should have had all this land in South Australia. But then what we've ended up is we've ended up with a truck in no man's land, the divisions in Victoria, and a fence in the middle of nowhere. So if you drive got a track, you're actually in Victoria. But somewhere along the lines, which I haven't been able to find, do want to find, if you guys know where, let me know, there has been a management decision in Australia. So I haven't been able to find it. Hence why your partial Wikidata data goes back to South Australia, goes around. And it should actually be offset to the border fence, 600 metres that way. So there you go. Quite surprising. Even today, we've got a border in Australia that's not, doesn't exist ground. We've still got that undisputed border. You can go and plot there. Nobody know where to be taxes you pay. Anyway. It's a bit interesting giving you back and stuff, but if you want to know more, there's lots of theories around those things in this book as well. And it's a really good, nice book.
Thanks, Beth. Thanks, Beth. Thank you. You did. I think you're spot on, actually. Yeah, 2 shots. Take a breath. Righto, thank you very much. Presentations, we don't have any. Select the member updates, mayoral update. The only things I want to focus on is CEO and I and our partners attended the Ag Town of the Year Award in the Hills. Obviously, that is the culmination of a community-led project that brings with it the benefits, I guess, of confidence and well-being for the district, and I guess balance as well. Seeing that Pinaroo got it in 20, I think it was 20. Can't remember which. But it's a good recognition of the fact that agriculture and sustainability and improved practices were seen to be abundant through the community and everything the community is doing. So I think that was really good, and I think we were down there with the 2 other nominee councils, which were Tatiara Council for Keith and Kimber, and the mayors were both there. So we had a little bit of a jest and congratulations in the end. So yeah, that was a very good event, and I think well done to the townspeople for doing that, and the businesses, the community that put it forward. I think it's very well done. And I also wanted to highlight that we had another citizenship ceremony a few days later, and that was with 9 people, 8 from one family, which is pretty huge. And of course, the 9th was Demi from Demi's Kitchen, which was good to welcome them. And we're having a fair flurry of them at the moment. They just keep coming one after the other. I'm led to believe there's another one potentially coming. So I just think that's really good for the district. I mean, that's not new people coming in per se this week. They're already here, but it means they're putting down some roots and they're becoming citizens. And I think that's really good. So that's the two I would mention from there. Yeah, I didn't need to pass it. So I'll move that council receives and notes the contents of this report. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. So 9, elected members' reports. Anyone want to make
Start.
or a report
Report.
from a committee or something?
Reporting, well, not so much for committee. Well, yeah, working with CFS with the other hat on, discussing proposals that are at the table at the moment. Ongoing.
Can I ask a question on that? So probably it's worth contemplating in future times where, and if there's a point for separating those two when it comes to confidentiality conflict. So I guess just because it's been asked of me, and people have come to me, is there a conflict? Where does it lie? Not until there's a decision being made, in which case we'll remove himself from that decision if it needs to be. And that would be in consultation with the CEO of governance, but I thought it was worth raising, seeing you've raised that. David?
Just training over last Friday, Williams.
Yes.
I basically never did it. Yeah. It was a bit of a waste of time, but
No. Yeah, I got things from it. I mean, you always learn something new. Yeah. Good. My Lord, do we need to move that one, or is that okay just as a criticism?
If you want me to.
I mean, a company say yes, do you want that community? In which case, just that you've given a report.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. So in that case, we'll move that Chris's elected members report from CFS be received and noted. Seconder. Luke. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. Righto, 10.1, minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting Thursday, 22nd.
Report presents to council the minutes of the last meeting held last week, 13th of November. The committee met to discuss total discussion. From that meeting, the committee recommended that one policy be adopted after its recent review, and another report regarding a tender assessment will be considered confidential. So the recommendations are that council accepts the minutes of the Audit Risk Committee held Thursday, 13th of November, adopts the draft term control policy 2025 as per attachment 2, and note that item 7.1 of the Audit Risk Committee is dealt with in the confidential section of the council agenda.
Do I have a mover for that? David, seconder. Neville, someone want to speak to that? I would think I was there. So I guess there's a couple of points I would just like to highlight that come out of the meeting that obviously you'd have to read to the fine print to get it. One was that it was noted by the committee, particularly by the chair, that relying on outside financial services was a significant risk for council, being that all our eggs are in one basket, and if something happens, we're strategically at risk. That was it. It wasn't a you should or shouldn't. It was just noting that that's a risk, which was already noted by the council, but you have to read through to understand that. Two was that there was a segment in there about leave, reporting about excess leave, and it was noted in there that, and the CEO took it on board that the policy review of council was recommended to look at how is annual leave or leave balances managed from an ongoing perspective rather than always trying to be retrospectively fixing it, and that was taken on board. They wish to, so then I just need to refer to these ones because I don't want to get it wrong. So 5.4, disclosure local government advice scheme. The chair was quite adamant that we include a section which we did, which is note number 2, which is noted that creating new asset management plans has been discussed over several years in the Audit and Risk Committee, and the committee emphasises that it is critical to the financial sustainability of council. We further recognise that this affects ESCO's ability to assess the current financial sustainability. However, the committee endorses council's approach in finalising these actions this financial year. So that was really an endorsement of the actions that are currently happening, but recognising it's taken a long time to get here, but we're nearly there. And the last point that the chair wanted recognised was that
If I could just quickly jump
Yeah,
in,
certainly.
if you don't mind.
Go.
Is basically the crux of that report was we have to use the 2023 long-term financial plan and asset management plans for the SCOSA review. Now, we've sat with them and told them what's going on. We've shown the Financial Sustainability Committee. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is a long-term financial plan. And they, so much so that we said, well, we can put a draft up, don't know if it's right, and they would prefer that than actually us waiting to do it properly. So we made a decision and said, well, look, we can't come to the elect members and go, hey, can you adopt this? Don't ask me any questions about it, but not sure if it's right. You know, can you just adopt that so SCOSA's got something that's up to date? So we went, nah, we're not going to do that. We'll take the hit on 2023, and it'll all be right. Probably once their report comes out and says is derogatory about our asset management, will we be all our ducks will be in a row?
Yeah, and I think it was fair to say my recollection of that was going to be my last point.
Sorry.
Was no, it's right for you to say. Is that would be utilising the only current long-term financial plan we have, which is the 2023 adopted plan, and that utilises what we know to be flawed asset management plans, and that's the work we're trying to do is fix that.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to hear that, and I guess Ross's point was that the Audit and Risk Committee endorses council's approach to say, let's deal with facts, not fiction. And if we haven't got the right stuff to put forward, let's not put it forward until we have. And basically, if this goes not happy, that will happy days because we're paying you $40,000 to produce a report. We're not going to do it based on flawed data. Right.
Just wanted out there too. Every council pays $40,000.
Yes. Yeah, that's mandated. We don't get a choice.
Adelaide, Tonga, Bringham, 200 million.
All the big ones.
To basically have ESCOSA put a name to your figures that are already there. They're not creating any new figures. They're just putting a report on our figures. Which each jobs. Well, we already know that, but anyway, just
Yes.
so that's that. All those. Anyone else have anything? No, we said that. All those in favour. Thank you very much. Carried. That takes me budget review 26. That takes me to budget review 1. Only second.
Presents a recommendation for the budget review for this year. The report shows a revised forecast of council's operating capital activities potentially adopted in the budget. Considering changes of both operating capital will result in forecast of operating surplus of 69,000. So that's a change of 110 since it was adopted. The main changes there relate directly to obviously had some unexpected costs relating to asbestos at Penrith transfer station, 12,000. We've got a cost associated with council's 3-month curbside waste. That's 24. It's $30,000 necessary for cleaning the stormwater. Take the stormwater assessment and erection project. So they're the key items there. They're all highlighted in attachment 1. Then on the side of things, we're highlighting the carried forwards of funds as per council decision. The projects are incomplete, consider works in progress. So they're just still continuing. Small saving councillors, and obviously there's the original budget where we had the other unallocated rooms, and we're showing how you reallocated those. So again, that's all I'll touch on. So the recommendation there is that council receive the notice of contents of the report, adopts budget review 1 for 2025-26.
Do you want to jump in, Simone, with the spreadsheet?
With the spreadsheet.
It's a big commitment from myself is to help with our budgeting and help with their understanding just based on the last process. So what I've done is taken all of what I've presented at the budget financial year, and put that into something that actually spells out what we do. Not here it is, this is our account numbers, the names are a bit weird, just trust us, it's okay, but actually put it into items and put it into lines, and categories that are more aligned to what we actually do, not just it's the council. So Ron, I actually got most of this from Ron saying this is how I'd like to see it, so I've just taken that. So you can see here we've got governance, admin and compliance as one. And then you've got everything there, elected members, administration, all the officers we've spoken about, records management, IT, all of that. It keeps going through. We've got sport and rec. So you can see it actually splits out. It doesn't just say parks out 6 grand. We can actually split it out there. We've got all of those depreciation in there. If we split out the pools, instead of just saying this is how much pools cost us, we can actually split it out. Same as sport and rec, split all of those out as well. That's mainly electricity, sort of stuff. Sanitary and garbage goes without saying there, but we can split out the transfer stations and what they actually cost and what have you there. We've got building and property, so it's those stuff. And again, split everything out so you guys can see what we're doing and what's going where. That's really good control. Now you'll also notice here, this is the budget and the actuals. So this is really what should have happened. This budget is we should have started here, and everywhere that's orange we have a conversation about, and it's about why it's we looked at the IT is a great example. You know, IT is at about 50%. It's like why I say 50% was because half of it we only pay once a year. You know, things for like synergy and service and all of that sort of stuff that warranties we pay. So there's more to it than this, but I just wanted to show childcare centres, you've got roads, and then I do have capital in different sheets. And then roads, so you've got all of again there. Now you look at that and you go, well, that's all really good. That says it more. But when it actually gets to the budget process, it's not so much here for budget review one. Actually get into the budget, and I've made that commitment to you. We're going to go through line by line. I'm going to give you everything, but that's what is. We'll start with here. And for example, elected members, but if we go to IT and comms, it's in corporate services here, and this is everything that goes into IT. So we've got all the stuff that means stuff to us, so we can look it up and you go, well, we spent $18,000. What is that? We can then cut the purchase in synergy, and there it is. So instead of it just going in, here it is, and then you guess it, you're going, oh, what does that include? And we go, oh, I think it's depreciation and it's probably a bit of insurance. We can go, no, it's this. This is what it is. So I would also like this to be. This took a lot of time because we're starting with, you know, what I've always shown you. And we've got a fair bit of work to do to make it so that we can actually pull this out monthly and do it. Because we should be doing this internally monthly. Departments get this as well as each of these. Ben, for example, should get all of this monthly, and we go through, yes, no, this needs to be moved. We've got other savings that aren't in here that we haven't calculated yet because it's still all up in here with, particularly with wages. You've heard today a few times about Ben's got 2, Tony's got 1. That's been out for, so there's just a little bit all of that. But going forward, this is what you should be getting at least to show you. You can sit down and we can go through this. I'll send it to you earlier, not spring it to you on council meeting day. But we've got sort of the original way. I just wanted to show you that it's not.
Mr. Eastman.
Yeah, just to show you that we're listening. We're listening, and
I think it's worth highlighting a form of this page is what will be used on the bigger screen in the hall when we invite the ratepayers in to have the discussion about what all this stuff means. This is the way they're going to see it, so that they can see the breakup. You know, if you scroll down a little so we can see the bottom lines there, You know, so they can see where we spend $1.4 million on sport, recreation and parklands. Well, here's where it goes. We spend 2.6 million on governance compliance. Here's where it goes. So they'll be able to see that, but be added to that is where the people work, how many people work in that particular area. So we don't get what gets said is, oh, you can start and doing anything. Actually, here's where it's attached to.
Yeah. And the other thing when it comes to the budget time again, is it'll be a similar process. So we'll do it beforehand, but this time you'll understand exactly where everything's coming from. We'll have 4 or 5 years of actuals, trend lines as well, because I'm all about appearance.
Here's a trend line.
Trend lines, so you can see that this is the method to our madness. Tick, tick, hang on. Records management, 90,000. What's going on? Can you explain that to me? Yeah, so just wanted to put it out there. We're listening, trying to help. I think this is a really good start. And every time I've spoken to someone, that's heaps better. That makes so much more sense than the crap we just sort of here deal with it, sign it off. And
And I think it's also worth pointing out the oranges, that's what that's all about. It's more like a daily operating control where the only things we should be concerned about are the figures in red and orange boxes, because that says that's not in line, should be at this point in the cycle. The greens are all good. They're all in line. So you don't have to go look for everything. You just got to look for the reds or the oranges to say what's going on.
And these are the ones that's in the red ones, enough of what brought in that Ben's come through.
Yeah.
You know, stormwater that's for the CCTV.
Yeah. And you can write big on that and put comments in there, and it's easily answered. Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be a time when we can click this and it takes you straight to the meter. You know, I've even got all the income in here as well. So we can even muck around it's the council sort of stuff. Yeah. One other thing I want to add here as well. We've got nothing in there, so just give me a sec. Toilets is the big one. So one of the other things I've done, I've popped in there cost drivers for activity-based costing. So if someone's out there talking, what's going on with the toilets, how much does it cost? And you can tell them how much they cost, and they go, oh, yeah, that seems like a lot. Activity-based costing, we can actually do it so to the toilet block, to the toilet pan. So we've got 7 toilet blocks. Our toilets cost us nearly $13,000 per block. Not only that, they cost us nearly $4,000 per pen.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So that's the sort of, it makes it real, and it also gives us a KPI that we can then try to get stuck into. So it's like, yeah, we've saved all this money. Well, actually, our cost per pen has gone down by X%. We can have those sort of discussions with you. That's right. And hopefully some of this will go down to taking pens away. But yeah, I just wanted to.
So we've got to stop everybody eating and drinking in the district. It's a very close to the
Sorry, just here. But yeah, I just wanted to jump in the budget that's we should have started. I don't know if it's been a fair bit. So that's why it's a little bit, but we've got the original, which we've had for 3 years, but I just wanted to show you the direction. So I finished it this week. Yeah.
That asbestos being picked up at the tier. We'll get, once we get it on the thing, yeah, right. Yep. Thanks for that. I want to move it. Yep, Luke, seconder. David. So I'll start with Luke, because he's got a breakfast straight up.
Yeah, the asbestos that was dumped at the tip by some idiot. Have we been able to trace that more on?
Let's just.
We have some leak, and we believe that was someone. We're here to try some. So this is State Cross Council. We believe in the contract that so they chase up, go through as much as possible.
Or should be directed to that contract? And I there are more, but anyway.
Okay. I've got a couple. So page 27 says their borrowings and net financial liabilities are both lower in budget review. One as a result of better than anticipated results in 24/5. I just wanted to understand purely for the record as to whether that's because of the early payment or the timing, grant payment timing issue. That's made the numbers look better for 24/5 than we expected them to be. Or if not that, is it the carry forward of the capital savings by projects not done? Because it didn't seem like we were going to suddenly have an unexpected windfall in 24/5.
It'll culminate. Yeah, but. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
it's both.
Just because it says the result forecast borrowing, because above that, there's net cash list for the cash flow has increased by 74 million money in there. This year's result forecast borrowings of 950,000 to fund all projects as a result of paying all cash advance facilities back at the end of 24/5.
Yeah.
And my understanding of that is we paid it down because the 950 is what we save from projects to carry forward the sealed works. And so the methodology is you pay down your finance in now so that you re-borrow at some point through this year when you need those funds and you save the interest in the meantime.
Exactly.
And I'm just trying to say it on the record so that people that are seeing it don't go, well, hang on, we made more money than we expected. Do we not know what we're doing? Or where the fact is we did know what we're doing. It was planned.
Yep.
There's a few more on page 28. I actually had the same with Luke. Like, can we recover this amount for the clean up for the? That's acceptable to the rate payments. I guess I wanted to ask the 25,000 3-month trial for both curbside rubbish collection to Brinkley. I was unsure as to why that was unexpected when we would know that, because there's a changes of movement. So I thought we planned that, budgeted, so it seems unusual it's in there as unexpected.
Through the chair, we look to see if we get some savings. Part of that is PPA levies as well as the additional, etc. And that's so hopefully we get the claim sorted, we should have savings coming in it. Also, if we get some EPA levy reimbursements, which we're chasing, hopefully that will balance out some.
The basically just ended up more than we expected. We didn't allow for it. It's just the cost. So
it's a timing perspective, and so there's some additional costs, which we're going to get them some efficiencies.
Okay.
We'll bring it back in review to the option.
Okay. And budget review too, as well. We'll have the original amount.
Yeah.
You know, the new amount that's been added to the budget, so you can actually see it. Yeah.
And I guess, so I had the same question for the next bit was, the 30,000 for the condition assessment. The question was a simple one, is that a blowout, like a more expense, or is it just that we didn't realise that we'd need to do that to achieve that outcome? Because obviously there would normally be maintenance of those pipes, I would have thought.
Yeah.
So probably more a comment than I wouldn't be to say it was an inaccuracy, but it just, these things at some point we've got to stop rolling in like BR1 and we're already just about out of what we thought was going to be surplus or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Then in the capital expenditure, the reseal or reconstruction sealed.
Yep.
The comments say that Dr. Budget Review 3 for financial year allocated to seal capital works. This amount was related to indexation. Well, I didn't believe that was indexation. That was the one where we decided to carry on those works and carry over. The indexation one was the 846,465 line 20 or item 20608. So I think they're actually back to front.
They are, yeah.
They're in wrong comment for the wrong line. And again, it's just so people reading it, because as we heard tonight, trust is an important thing, so they've got to trust us as well. And I guess on the next page 29, I just put in the variance 110. I wrote myself a comment. This is why we need to target the 5% surplus. We're targeting two smaller surpluses, and as soon as anything happens, we're bordering deficit every time, and it just at some point we've got to be doing that.
And then there are better budget processes will come to as well, because we'll go. It shouldn't be, the stuff shouldn't be a surprise. We should have stuff aside. Charlotte, if an air conditioner goes with something and he needs to fix it, but he should always have. He's never had it. We always take it off him, but it should be there, and that should go into our. It should go into our budget and what we're doing with rates and obviously other things as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's going to be smart ass and it's not the right place.
Yeah, right.
And then page 35, the 4.7, which is an increase in capital expenditure on renewal and replacements of existing assets goes from 3.7 to 4.7. Again, I believe that the carryover of monies from 24/5 that we carried over to put into the sealed projects, 950,000 or whatever. And I'm only saying it because in this world of gobbledygook, which it doesn't show that, and so people don't get to understand that, and I think it's pretty important.
Yep.
And believe it or not, that's me done, and I'll come back to Chris. So, David, anything for you? No. Well, in that case, I'm going to take Chris's opportunity away and say, okay. All those in favour?
No, you didn't want me to talk to Trevor.
Oh, all right. Trevor was after you. Thank you very much. Southern Melbourne Council annual report.
Thank you again. The report presents 24/25 annual report for the year, formal adoption. Report details, the local government. Thanks. Sorry, local government acts. That's it. What are the local? Sets out all the requirements around the annual reports and officially provide copies, etc. The annual report obviously some of the activities for the year. That's statements and certain organisations. It's I think it's together very well contained input from everybody. I think there's a well the recommendation here. Council receive a copy of this report, adopt the Southern Melbourne Council annual report 2024 as contained. And authorise the CEO to make any formatting or changes to the annual report or publication.
Neville, second. Chris, Morgan, anyone want to speak to that?
Anyone, does this report ever go to the library somewhere where people look at it, or only we get a copy in the government copy, like who gets copies?
It's out here. It's out here. It's at the council office.
It's relevant.
Through the chair, we do also send it to so. Yeah. It's the state one.
Oh, okay.
You can go and read one there for 1968.
I'll just do me better.
Right, all those in favour? Carries.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. There's a Mitchell in the
Councillor Mitchell.
Yeah, that's what just landed map of our area. Where that board.
Yeah, that's it. We use it a lot.
We use it dotted line.
Righto, page 187, corporate services update, 22nd.
Thank you again. This report presents a monthly update of the corporate services team. Activities for the last year. I'll take this report and read just to highlight a few quick items. Key task we need to finish this month is the reconciliation reports. It's a very large job. Done. It's due at the end of the month, so we'll track with that. Then it's what starts finding improvement. Issue, which does extend into the previous year. Obviously, we've got some vacancies, so we can offset one against the others. Deal with that. Finally, 40 months plan. Very pleased to say that we did achieve a 100% score, which is a credit to Denise, our WHS officer, and everyone else involved contributing to that. I think I mentioned a couple of times, the biggest KPI for it's a great result. To demonstrate the value of having research in this phase. So the recommendation here is the council receiving the report. Thank you.
I'll move for that, please. Trevor, second to Luke. Anyone want to speak to that? I just got one if I could. Page 188, short-term cash advance facilities. I just note that it doesn't. It says that we haven't accessed any of the overdrafts, but on the previous report, we're saying that we were 950,000 of debt. But it doesn't. The one before doesn't say from. It says we have, and this one says zero. So again, it's just noting we haven't tapped the overdraft yet, but we will.
Forecasting too.
Yeah. So I just again, I'm just saying it for the people that are listening, so that because this gets kept for a year.
Yep.
That was it.
No, question, the long-term loans, is that for the CWS or what's that?
Yep.
Yeah. 2.9 million.
Oh, we had that in previous reports.
Most of it is swing to. Yeah.
All those in favour? Thank you. Thank you. Top ejection, next person. Thanks, Tony. This is it. Rocking and Development Service, Carlo White, at 195.
So this is the of the public development services team and been up to go through all just give a couple of highlights, things that I think could be interesting. We've engaged the contractors to do the rotunda repairs. We've had conversations with the Fairfax Club. They're keen to be involved in the project and they're running up towards that project and be involved in the mix as well. So that should pick up in January, hopefully be done by February. Our expressions of interest for the Landry Caravan Park closed last week. So we'll get on to those and have a look at those. Our one for RSL is currently ongoing. One person's gone through the site already, so I'm just waiting to see what that taken to get from that. The CWS line from Pool is finished, so waiting for the final bill on that. And then going fire activities, 2 properties issued a fire reduction notice, which is a little more than I was hoping for, but it's been wet. We got growing. Yeah, and but I had some tea owners, so we will start second round inspections tomorrow, actually. So yeah, expect to see me there. Just while we're discussing things, the graphs for the people counts, I apologise for the size of them, they're a little bit less than I was hoping they'd be. But just to give you some context around them, we have 4 new counties that lead by counties. They take a going in both directions. So usually you should be dividing the numbers by 2. They pick up down to be a substantial size to picked up on them. So I'm going to try and give you more activity counters and trends of what's going on in the districts at different places. We're starting to focus on the pools and the public conveniences at the moment. So yeah, but we'll try to make it so you can actually read the graphs next time.
Size too big or too small?
Unit like this,
Yeah.
basically they're detector. Basically, it'll pick up. Yeah. So it picks up people going through. And people want to work. Scouting wasn't sending the data. So we can reset that.
I think your size reference was what's printed in here.
Yes. Sorry. It's good.
Yes.
Just so you know, it's here. The couple of things is significantly higher than what we actually thought.
Yeah.
So, case in point, the public outside the office have 20 to 30 visitors a day. So it's
That's because it's near that.
we suspect so. Definitely usage there.
Lots of work he's there to pull up.
Yep.
Can't you go?
But it's a lot more than we thought it was. Well, my anecdotal evidence from when I've been up there observing was like 3 or 4 people a day.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, the people counters was you saw today that the need for data and for it to back up your decisions. So having it for conveniences is a really good idea. Having it for the pools is brilliant. It just showed you the budget. We can do cost per swim. What we can do to get the cost per swim down, we either increase swimmers or we decrease costs. So I think it's really important when we've got all of this sort of, discussions that need to be made. We're going all out for asset management plans and say, what's it get used? It's like, I don't know. So
we can put these on buildings, we can put them on playgrounds, we can put them wherever you got on data.
I'll go to Perilla, and then when people are confused and say, no one goes, it's like, well, actually, people go, you've got to keep this, it gets used all the time. It's like, well, it gets used once a day for, so we've got that up our sleeves for you as well. And it's not cost prohibitive to do it.
Okay. Report units, they're adding units now. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's just a subscription for each month for when you use it. As soon as you don't want to use it, turn the subscription off.
Yeah.
Excellent. Do I have a move? Luke, second, David, someone can speak to that. I got a couple, guess once, picky little thing. The mission that's closed on the 14th of November will actually close because it's the 19th of November. Just that's the date one that is.
Well, that was written.
Projection. SMDC facility condition assessment building asset in progress, and there's a formal update provided once electrical component and inspections have been reconciled.
Sorry, I apologize.
That's right. I just want to know, have we got a time frame on that?
We're still on the current original timeframe. It should be here by mid-December.
So the report should be delivered.
I've asked them for other information earlier if they could get it. That last thing they were waiting for was the electrical component. That is in now. They're in the process of the data altogether. So
if that report is deliverable even in its first format, that we should have a workshop the day of the next meeting so that we can actually go through and start talking about that stuff, because it's important we start getting onto that. Second one was same thing actually, but different verses. So Lameroo Harvey Street stormwater and the Pinaroo and Lameroo stormwater, they're both updates, they're both in progress. And we just want to know if we have some ETAs on those, because they're obviously long too.
not till some basically we can't do a lot down here until we get rid of the water so that we can actually do stuff, and the same down there. So
I will say it was dry for quite a substantial amount of time. I think it's done.
before people are engaged, yes.
So, but that would be an effective answer. So as soon as the water goes, it's going to be done. But we don't
The
need.
Harvey Street one definitely, and then it depends on when the contractor is available for Pinaroo Street and Pinaroo Avenue.
So it's just it's more about saying, look, once conditions, the answer can be once conditions are there, we'll be doing it within a week. Or once conditions are right, it still might be 3 months because we're waiting for if they're already.
One of them we have control over, one of them we don't have control over. It's
Okay. Yeah. No. In that case, all those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Projection next, Ben Wright. Proposed road closure.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. We're looking at the 25 Pinaroo Christian activities. So I'll take it as read, however, I will ask for a couple of amendments to the recommendation. That's Friday, the 19th of December 2025. I'll sack my proofreader. But also further down, there's another one in the time. So just 1, 3. Yep, that would be 19th December 2025, please. Yep. So this is basically the same as previous years. So Pinaroo Lions Club has come to council to request a road closure. Council staff are willing to enact the road closure. So we're going to work during that time to be able to allow the event to continue. We did talk to them about having a different location. This location was preferred because of the pedestrian activity across the street, but also the activity with businesses along the main street as well. So it is 5 to 9, the Friday 19th, 2025.
I'm happy for us to take that as read. Absolutely. So we take that to a second. Trevor, anyone want to speak to that? All those in favour? Gary? Instructor services.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll take the report has been read, so a couple of key things to take out of that. The Pinaroo wetland tank has been installed just recently. I'm currently filling it up. We had a small delay with the connection pipe, so the trench is still open, but we'll be fixing that for the next week or so. The draining bore we pulled out yesterday, the proposal, and there's some slight issues with that. We'll come back to council with a proposed amendment to budgets, sort of priority listing for that. The Lammering Pool, the water supply services, contractors on site now relocating those 2 water pipes. Part of the project is sponsored for the netball club upgrades. The portion across the car park to the manifold at the pool fence is a project council. Reheating is going very well. We're currently in the second stage of council's amended resolutions for the additional work. There's a summary on page 205. Some of the costings are out slightly because we're waiting on some invoices. So it's a timing scenario. And we're still on track to finish a resheeting for the June stage of the additional works, subject to construction and water being available. The drum muster has happened in October, so I'm very glad that's local business have contributed to that.
How did that work? Do we get money back?
We allocated $4,000 budget for contractor staff, and there's money for wages for the guys actually doing 3 days of receiving.
So we all pay into the drum. We all pay 60 cents a litre for everything we want. So for every the shuttle, $60 they get off this. So where's that money going? Do we get any money back for doing the work?
Don't believe we do. There's a budget that we haven't used in the last couple of years. Prior to that, there was expenditure around the $2,500. So the last year we didn't cost us anything for running that apart from the labour.
We should, so they can get the drums.
They don't.
Yeah, but we should, the amount that we pay shouldn't pay for that. Then to come here for nothing, really. But I don't know why there's a.
We pay quite a bit.
Council shouldn't pay anything, should they?
No.
Should be covered by the drum master. It's not
Yep.
which 4,000 short.
Yes, like I said, so there's $4,000 in the budget there. We didn't spend it last year, but we carried forward. We had it in this year's budget. Just to confirm whether there is any, I'll come back to you next week.
Give me no practice for that. Regardless where that money goes to. Just should.
Yeah, I'll take that question on notice.
Excellent. This one you can actually read out.
The recommendation, Mr. Chair, is the council will receive and note the report.
Well, I can win it off the big one, right? Yeah. Luke, second, Trevor.
Did I have a question?
Well, no, because David's already asked him. We'll let him finish it.
Dave playing again.
Yeah, okay.
So the problem will be finished in mid 2023, not 2025. It's just it's just a date thing.
Yeah.
Never yeah. How come we do repairs to the caravan RV done? Is someone back into it or run over?
There was a mechanical fault with the non-return valve for a bit, so it had the electricity pumps. There was the worst thing in the caravan was a pump as well. It was repaired. So just someone did.
It wasn't damaged.
It wasn't bad.
Loads. I just want to make a comment more than anything. I drove down Currywell Road through to Canalton on Sunday when there was a bit of rain. There's a lot of, as well as all the thing, but there's so many potholes in there for a long period of time. They were full of water. It was hard to know how deep they were, and you're trying to miss them, but you can't. Yeah, so it was really, it was a comment that there's a lot of potholes in that road, aside from the other stuff we're dealing with. I was quite surprised at the volume and the nature of some of them, because you can lose a rim on that really easy.
Yeah, we'll get back onto that.
And I didn't stop and do a snap centre side because it was bloody wet.
No, it's yes, through the chair, they won't work down that area because of the network. We have some cement treated bubble in some of the different patches as well.
Yeah.
Just to see if the cement treated technology or theory will work. So it's working.
Okay. Yeah, so that was brilliant. Question, anything?
Okay, go.
Yes, so through the chair, we were asked to investigate off the verge, where there was a sand riding outside. Have spoken to crew, we haven't done any action on site yet, so.
Thank you.
You'll find. So,
Yeah, I was about to say that earlier in this report. All those in favour? Against, carried. 11.7, support for meaningful local government reform in South Australia. Jason Beaton.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, so we received correspondence from City of Victor Harbor requesting advocacy support for local government reform. So this is about the getting better representation, not in this council, obviously. Well, yeah, notice the,
You do realise we had 2 nominations.
yeah, that's right. Talk about that. No, look, it is a good cause. It keeps coming up a lot in every sort of local government event that we go to about getting qualified and valuable people on councils throughout the state. Even though I say we've got a really good chamber, I think it's worth us putting our hands up and going, we agree, City of Victor Harbor, and we'll write the letter as well. So the recommendation is that council endorses the City of Victor Harbor's request to support a collective advocacy effort for meaningful local government reform in South Australia, and write to the Minister for Local Government, the Honourable
Joe Socko.
Yep, MP, and to the local state member of parliament and 2026 state election candidates as outlined in this report. What does it say? Stocker. Yeah, I should remember that.
And I just want to make a note before we put that for moving that, that came to me as mayor, and I said to Jason that I really wanted that to come from the chamber, and the chamber endorse or otherwise in that letter. And I think any of these letters of that form should come through the chamber, not be just the mayor making his own decision about what should or shouldn't happen. So do I have a move for that, please? Luke, seconder, Chris. Anyone want to speak to that? Never.
If I complained when they had this habit, because we used to put our names up on the board to see who was standing, who wasn't. And that all got taken away, so I didn't know how many were standing. Then now they're going to have it so that the mayor's elected, and you don't know if they don't have the names up there, we could end up with Luke standing for mayor and Ron and the Harper doesn't, and you lose all those costs because it can't be a councillor after they've missed the mayor thing. I reckon we'll it's going to end up worse than whatever was, and it's the government's bloody fault because it's they're the ones that bought this crap in, you know.
Yes.
They have this stuff that's what's causing the problem.
The feedback through the LGA has been that it is likely that the number of nominations will be advertised on the window, but not the names. But that is why this letter is about saying we don't like the outcome of the review. We're going to support, as many councils are going to send letters saying we want better than that. Please take it seriously, because there was a lot of feedback through that process that wasn't taken up. So that's what this letter is about, saying it's not as good as we would like it to be.
Especially in the country where we've got limited people that are willing to stand and you don't know what feels that.
So just ignore.
Yes. So yes, point taken, Luke.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what we're asking them for.
Yeah. So basically, if reading the Victor Harbor letter, it's the same.
It's for the community, like so I understand it. You voted that people will get it.
Yeah, but I think what they're talking about here is that one is about whether they should have compulsory voting or not. There was things about whether the name should be out, but I think this one is writing field. So anyone nominating 24 election, asking them whether they will commit to meaningful local government reforms to increase participation with nominees and voters, and then publish the responses received from the community. So all this letter is saying is they want the politicians to engage or commit to engage properly with the community and then publishing their submissions, so that they can't just do what happened last time, which is ask for submissions, none of the bus put in things, and you'd never know what to put in because it wasn't public. Yeah. So this is not specifically asking for outcome other than you put your name to actually reviewing. Yeah. Anyway. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Customer request system, Jason B.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, June, we brought SnapSend Solve to you. It's been mentioned a fair bit. I think actually Mark mentioned it to me in one of this, in my handover days. And we found SnapSend Solve and we've gone out and it has been a real success.
Is that as well as you, or including you?
What's that?
Oh, sorry, you and Ben, big SnapSend solvers.
We are, yes, Ben in particular. So the way Ben's grabbed it and ran with it and to try to create efficiencies within his team and to get things done, it's been brilliant. We've had good feedback from the community as well. I've sat around their community events and people going, I couldn't believe it. I clicked something and then in a couple of days it was done. It was brilliant. So so whilst that's been brilliant, what hasn't been brilliant is the fact that we can only use a tiny part of it.
Yeah.
So we've got so much more we can do. Ben and I sat in a presentation with the SnapSend Solve, and there's so much more we can do, and so much more smarts and so much more reporting we can bring back. And as a part of my CDO update each month, I can bring those through, and so many efficiencies we can find with it, but with doing it, it has killed the spirit of Sharon's team. It requires about input 3 different times, and then when Ben gets sent one or someone gets sent one, because we're not actually paying for it, you can't actually go in and see it. So it's really hard to actually go in and then say solved and then it gets sent. So it's been a mess that way. But on the other side of it, even using this very top level, we're seeing some real efficiencies out of it. And for us to adopt that as our customer request system, it's going to be a huge increase on synergy. And I'm excited to get it going. So, recommendation is that council notes the positive outcomes of SnapSend Solve free tier trial and endorse the transition to the paid enterprise tier SnapSend Solve.
Mover, please. Luke, seconder. Chris, you want to speak to that?
I think it's a good idea. It's been a lot of talk around the community that have used it. I'm impressed with how quick the actions have been taken. And for that, yeah, it's 5,000 is a large sum of money in terms, but what it's going to save us going forward, I think it's well worth investment.
Yeah.
I did hear somebody say they didn't get a result or
Close.
and
that's because of the amount of work it takes on the back end, because we don't use
and even to get recognised in the first place, I think this person was saying they didn't. I've had mine recognised, but yeah, really, the resolved bit doesn't always come up. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes when you click the wrong button, you can't log back into it. So
it's
if we buy it, well, then we're in, and we can do it properly.
Yeah, we did it, but we've got to do a hybrid sign. We could only do one at a time because we've got no coverage where we are. So there's a heap of signs. There's no good coming out. Did just a couple of signs when a whole lot of them are bugging. So we want to put the whole lot there so to get something done with it. So I think once set up, it's only once we start us on first forever. Yeah. So because I heard on the radio all the city people putting in trolleys, shopping trolleys that are going missing and all sorts of things. So it seems like everyone's actually using it in the system now. So
and you can use it for SO.
It's sticky. Yes, I know. It's going to be pretty bad.
It'll.
I think it's great. I think it'll definitely cut down on time for the other staff inputting things. So that will save quite a bit of money there with them sitting down, doing all that. So
Their attitude's been great though. They joke with us and go, "Oh, I'm going to throttle Ben if I see one more of these things come in," but they still jump into it.
No, it's good. That's great.
I've used it too. Ben gave me feedback on it. Didn't quite get it.
Did you? Holy moly.
And first one I tried didn't go through, but the problem's been fixed by the next week anyway. So that was good also.
No. Only a comment, which is that it's all the feedback I've got is positive. Yes, there was a problem with closeouts, and we notified Ben Meadowback, my wife did, after putting coupling, and saw that the job had been done, but it wasn't closed out. But I've had comments from local residents saying, "Shit, we only put in, and 2 days later the tree was trimmed or the whatever was done." So that's all positive. So all those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Report annual business plan project update.
And this is a real sort of update information report, so I'm going to take it as read and answer any questions as you need, but I've added in an extra overview so you can see the ones that are in progress and all started and actually complete now. But yeah, the recommendation of council receive and note this report.
A mover, please. Neville, second to Luke. Anyone want to speak to that? Any projects?
I like that, it's a good report.
Yeah. We'll get them.
Agreeable.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I just think you,
Yeah.
love it.
Transparency is key.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Yes, carried. Thank you. Strategic management plan, 11.1. Sticking spot. What you got it? Right. Page 241.
Strategic management plan. Current one we've got was done 5 years ago. A lot changed in 5 years. So whilst we are required as part of our reports to put where it fits into a strategic management plan, the strategic management plan wasn't done, was no input from anyone in this room. So it is out of date. Now it should be reviewed at the start of every council, which I believe it was reviewed, but now that we've got to the end of it, I have taken it upon myself for the last 6, 7, 8 months. I've been with you and all the feedback and everything we've spoken about, and the many conversations I've had with our mayor, taken all of that input and then I've popped it into your strategic management plan. This is not final and going, right, here it is, deal with it. This is what I think we should do. This is absolutely open for interpretation. And if there's anything else you needed to add in, please do. What I've done with it is I've taken the real sort of the message in the preamble beforehand is more the same as what we had before. The real changes that I've made come from the actions at the end, and the actions are more reflective of what you guys have told me you want to achieve as a council. So a lot more things on information gathering, evidence-based decision making is huge. Again, cost savings all through there. I've mentioned cost savings. The community, I've wanted to really increase the community. We keep pulling our funding for community and community outreach, so they've got that in there. So I would say the actions and where they're moved towards is more to reflect council's commitment to becoming a lean, efficient and forward-thinking organisation, not just to deal with today, but also how do we set council up today and for the future. So that's what I've tried to have done. Happy to take any questions or any amendments you would like me to make, but if not, the recommendation is that council endorse the draft Southern Mallee District Council Strategic Management Plans 2025 to 2030 for public consultation in accordance with the Local Government Act, and notes that following the consultation period, a report incorporating community feedback and the final strategic management plan will be presented to council for adoption.
Very good, please. Luke, second. Chris, can you speak to that?
I think it's great, as I read it when we first sent it out, missed the deadline.
Yeah,
I've got to it, read through it, and it's good, it's to the point, it's factual, it's the information's in there that you need. It's a good job.
Yeah. Sorry, as well, the actions, I've created some more, we've spoken about accountability, I've created some more accountability, I've given timeframes and who should be looking after it as well in there for us. And there was something else I was going to say that will come up and I'll interrupt one of you later when I remember. Sorry.
Not sure if this is the right spot, but you could probably promote the Journey Mock Shop and Cafe somewhere in there, like it says promoting.
I didn't put it in the first community bit.
I don't know, I can't be in.
No, right. Yeah.
Somewhere you're promoting tourism, water. Because it is a bit of a destination spot now, so and just see. There's something about I got a pretty good feedback from someone that worked in council for a really long time, and this was second hand, but he'd worked for a long time and he didn't get any sign of appreciation when he left. And he was feeling disappointed about that, and I thought we probably should recognise that for future times.
Sure. What I was going to add before is to blow my own point here and say strategic benefit plans often cost tens of thousands of dollars. So in our chips. So it hasn't cost council a bit to do the strategic plan, which is not, we were printed, but it hasn't cost us. Yeah, it's good.
No, nothing. Yeah, that's right. Direct cost, indirect.
Oh, I think it's great that it has cost very little except for your time. Previous years, it's cost an absolute
That's right.
shitload, and it's got nothing out of it, because at the end of the day, I personally don't think it does anything. I think it's a waste of money. And we could spend that money on other things that the community needs instead of bullshit that no one reads.
It does give us,
That's just my theory of it. At the end of the day, shit happens. Lots of things change. So, you know, you could have another COVID and everything turns to crap. Where's your 5-year plan then?
And we'll do it properly down the drain when you all come back.
That's just my view. And I've been interested in it then if I do.
It does give us. James didn't do it, wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I'll just, do a swap loop.
Echo. Yeah.
Nicely though.
Yeah.
Please.
Probably, and the comment I'd make is yes, we did start the review and it kept getting held off. And the reason it kept getting held off, and I just recorded, is that we were saying that we wanted it to reflect actions and what was going to happen. And it took us so long to get to a strategic point where we're actually got some momentum now. And it's only really in the last 6 months that we're getting some momentum. And so it's not a bad thing that this is now reflecting. And the next one will be actually about what is your 20, not 40 view, but your 20, 50 or 60 view, because that will be seriously about what is the plan for infrastructure and development roads. And so instead of having, warm motherhood kind of statements, they'll be factual things about what we're going to deliver that makes a livable community.
A little wish-washy before, wouldn't it?
So, but I also applaud, I think, considering we haven't gone outside for it, you've done a good job with limited feedback from us, so appreciate that. All those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. Page 270, time and place of ordinary council meetings. Really good time to bring this up.
So December meeting is not actually so the December meeting is not actually set. So instead of just setting the December meeting and then talking about what we're going to do, I've gone ahead and we've put it all in for what we would normally do throughout the year. Still at 6:30. I've got views on the time that I'll raise at later council meetings, but at the moment this is as per this year. This is what we're putting in until further notice or the following year.
I have views on it too.
Yeah. A mover, Luke, second, Chris, speak to it. Probably just want to make one note. I know we moved this in the beginning of our term, which was that we keep our meetings on YouTube available for 12 months. I'd like us, the Chamber's permission, to consider keeping them on there for the term of our office. Because I think people should have access to what we do and say for the length of our term. Because I just think it's good for transparency. I don't know if it's the appropriate time to raise it, but seeing I saw it was on here, I thought, why not raise it? I don't think it matters where we're meeting. I just think that it should be kept. We now stream our workshops, and I'll be sort of talking about them when the workshops come up. I think we should be keeping them too, because that is the idea of transparency. There'll be a limit. I'm sure there's some sort of cap on how much we can have on our YouTube channel at free of charge, but I can't imagine we're getting anywhere close to it.
We've been a hell of a lot more open than previous.
We have, but I think transparency is king. So if we can have it all recorded, people can go back and see who said what when. Now it's a good thing. So I don't know, is that the time?
Do you want to amend the recommendation, or do you trust us to go away and make it happen?
I certainly am happy to say I trust it to go away and happen. I don't think it needs to be a recommendation. Is the rest of the chamber happy with that?
Happy with that.
Yep, okay.
But so just to be clear, so at the end of the election period, then they're all wiped, or is it till the last year?
So it would be I guess what I'm saying is they would stay for our term, whatever that, so the new term would be 4 years, this term would be the balance of this term.
Yeah.
If they don't get wiped, I don't think they get wiped. It's access to- There is another piece I'm keen to talk about, probably when we talk about the times, is I do not understand why there's not a crossover of information from chamber to chamber. I think that's ridiculous. You start absolutely blind. And with a land councillor and mayor in the room, I'm not sure what his view is, but I would have loved to have come in and been able to access the like the meetings and pass. So I think if there's not a limit to how long you keep these things, it should absolutely cover the transition of chambers. We've been making decisions on things that happened last term without any idea really of what we're making, what was the thinking of the day. Am I able to ask? I think we can do that. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, each councillor there is probably a fair share of time.
Well, the current council will block the heat on what we've done, I'm sure the staff, Be redoing it was all done.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so by having that on, we would be more likely not to have that problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And just to that point, because obviously we're on, I think with the advent of the register, that nothing can come off, no motion or report can leave here unless, which is coming up later, unless we agree that it's finished. It's been a good improvement in that area as well, but I think it's great. All right, so that done, everyone's happy, all those in favour? Against, carried, thank you. Section 41 committee, 11.12, page 273.
So, Financial Sustainability Committee, August, we went out for that one, to establish the Financial Sustainability Committee. And we have been out and sought members of the public. We have adopted the terms of reference, and we've gone to try and get members of the public. That came back in vain, but with the, as per the terms of reference, and the councillor contribution, as well as the staff, there is a forum there as per the terms of reference.
Yeah.
Still keen to get this going, absolutely. Not hiding behind, oh, we didn't get it, we're gonna run away now. We want to go ahead. So what we want to do now is actually, we want to appoint elected members to the Financial Sustainability Committee, and then determine what we're going to do with the community representation.
Meeting, everyone might be going to put me on, right?
Well, that's right.
Well, that's one of the options in there.
You mentioned that. So,
Yeah, so,
I mean,
Let them, if you want, just do the number one by itself and then do the second bit, separate motion.
Yeah, there is, well, yeah, because there are three options relevant to number two. Yeah. So,
you'll go about this, Shannon.
Oh,
so, well, because there's options down there as well for the members, so, it's a bit disjointed written. I think, with the leave of the chamber, we'll suspend standing orders for 5 minutes and have a quick chat about what we want, so that way we can come back with the answer. Yep. Show of hands. Thank you. So if we run through, I mean, in essence, what we've got is two components. We've got the mayor and deputy mayor as being on there. We're looking for two other councillors that want to be part of it. And then of the three options we've got, option one was to re-advertise for community members, reopen expressions of interest, and basically we wait for that to happen. Option two is we proceed without the community members, but still re-advertise and look for those community members, and when they become available, they just join the committee so that we don't lose any more time. And option three is a targeted invitation to suitable individuals. Not sure we could target any more than I already have, but there are others out there. So that's the other option. Certainly I'm in favour of option two, because we just get moving and we keep trying to find those community, and we may well get people stand up now, bearing in mind they've got to be suitably qualified and experienced people to add something to it. And then we just need 2 councillors. So any thoughts, Chris?
Just questioning. Should put their hand up and join on. The whole reason for it was to get some community members to have some insight and some understanding of the procedures and what we were doing. And question. So we had to dig in deep and find the answers. If none of the community want to be involved in it, well, we're already doing that here in the chamber, so why are we having another committee?
From my perspective, the terms of reference of the committee is actually much broader than that. It's to not cross over the Risk and Audit Committee findings. However, on the Audit and Risk Committee agenda, it's now a standing item that they get feedback from this committee.
Okay.
And the point of this committee is to, outside of the meeting, be able to actually delve in to everything and try and come up with sustainability initiatives to try and find savings and find money. Whether I'm not sure that can be achieved through the normal meeting format. It's pretty difficult. Whereas this, the sole purpose of this is the 3 executive members of the administration, the chamber, and there will be people come on. There's not a, I don't think it'll be vacant forever. Or there you go.
Yeah, the only compromise I could see is if we had a standing workshop before that was financial committee, which would be the same as this anyway. But we could still meet less section 41 as rigid as that, and have workshop and still go through it. Lots of councils with finance committees and budget committees and all that sort of stuff. So this is not on the realms of inappropriate or anything like that. So we're happy to sit down and go through it. If the community, you were worried about that, we can still forge ahead and give you all of that stuff and book money every month or every second month. I think we've got.
I'd also like to say that this open dialogue that we've got and this opening up the operational door, because it is so relevant to our finances, is chosen specific at this time. 12 months ago, we weren't in this position. So part of this is about the same work that Ben is currently doing, is about saying, well, we can't be so individual reliant. So this process is here and this stays until it's a motion from the chamber to remove it, which means if God forbid, man disappears for whatever reason, incumbent comes in, not so happy to be open and sharing, we go back to a while ago. This is the methodology, this is the mechanism by which we can look in under the hood.
Because if you imagine going, let's be honest, if you imagine going back to what we had at the start,
Yeah.
it's like beating your head against a brick wall. It really wasn't.
Yeah.
We get no information, just lies and bullshit.
Yeah, there's a point to this beyond. It's kind of taking away the strategic risk we have in individuals and trying to make the system robust. It's a good point. Yeah. David? Oh, Chris, sorry, you go.
Yeah, I was thinking a bit the same as Chris, actually, that, well, if no one from the community wants to be on it, maybe it's not necessary, but you've sort of got me with that, the corporate bit, so yeah, I'll probably, that's okay.
No, I think we'll go ahead with what we can.
I think too, yeah.
Trevor?
Did you say a workshop can accommodate it partially, like?
That was if you didn't want to go ahead with the section 41. We can still include it every second month. But
For clarity, the difference between the two, and you correct me if I'm wrong, it takes horsepower from the administration's point of view to run a section 41 committee. There's minutes and agendas and records and all that sort of stuff. But what I advise you in return for that is transparency and the ability to look in underneath things that you're not supposed to look into as elected members, basically. And it provides transparency and overreach, overlap if people come and go. And to me, that was the point of it being multi-chamber, so that this doesn't finish with us. This finishes when a future chamber decides to finish it. Which means all the records, all the things and everything stay there to see what work's been done for however many years it needs to be done.
whereas the workshop, no, just be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, in that view, because Shona needs to know what to put in there, so people will be putting their hands up for it, and then is the common view option 2 is what you want to put on there?
This would be, the terms of reference do say at least 2 of the members.
Yes, it doesn't have to be 4, no, but then we also get into quorum, like, down the track, so.
Put my hand up.
I think, I think I'll be holding back and getting them.
Yeah.
No, I meant that if there was more.
Yeah, oh, yeah, got it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Right, so, the point following the members to the Financial Sustainability Committee, have we got councillors who would wish to be mayor and deputy mayor? Does anyone else wish to be on it?
I'll definitely be on. Yeah. It's just.
Yeah.
If we didn't have it at the start.
So we've got 2 councillors and then determine one of the following options with respect. So we're saying .2, 2.2 has been the selected one, in which case we can just vote those together, can't we?
They come back out of.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Do we need to vote out? No, just. Yeah, we're back out.
Everything reduced is.
No,
So you have, one minute.
Yeah. Yeah, so just one, yeah.
surely.
Point, yeah, so point the following elected members to the Financial Sustainability Committee, Councillor Luke Kennedy, Councillor Trevor Pocock, and council proceed with the establishment of the committee with only the appointed council and staff represented until suitable committee members are identified.
Next it.
What was that? Oh, yeah, okay.
Two's re-advertised.
Yeah, well, rehab, I think on the back, number 2 was rehab.
Yeah.
So that's kind of saying the same thing. We need to simplify that. Is it
Maybe just move it as it is.
Oh, no, it just says at a later stage. It doesn't actually say that, so, yeah. Yeah, so that's correct. Got over the film, so. So now, we moved it already to get into those, I need to move. Neville, seconder Luke. All those in favour? Against, carried, thank you. Resolution status report, that's what I was trying to think of before. 11.13.
So I usually flick through this one pretty quickly. I do just want to make I want to make an adjustment to this one as well. I don't know what the item number it is, give me a sec, but I'll be reading through it. I don't think it's complete, the retirement village one, complete just yet. I need that to stay on the register, so it reminds us to keep working through it and actually getting all of these facts and fix the processes that led us to not be able to apply the facts. But other than that, the recommendation, if the council will even know the contents of this report, and determine that the resolutions identified in attachment 1 as completed have been accomplished and no further status reports will be provided on those resolutions, except for the one I just said.
Do we have a mover for that? Luke, seconder David. Anyone want to speak to that?
Can I have one here? Of course, I would like to see this first one, but second page, 9.2, that goes ahead sooner or later, because we're having a harvest, and I thought it was going to get something started or harvest nowhere, all the traffic's going to go on some of our roads, and that hasn't sort of happened yet, or I don't know if it has, so. Yeah, I'd like to see that sort of get moving a little bit more. Start. Yeah, no, like, so I thought we were going to have harvests here on, so I think it's really important we get that, get moving.
By the groups next to me, I think it's pretty safe to say we're not going to road survey, condition assessment survey. This use report.
We got the new
to go.
You counters.
That's all
It's got counters, we've got NTR, we've got counters, and we've got the permit system as well. Okay, that's some of it.
But. Yeah, we like.
I guess in the context of this though, it's not saying it's completed. So I think Ben and Jason can take that on note. It certainly gets spoken about often.
Yeah, that,
It doesn't sit there unspoken. Yeah. No.
So in item 9.2, are we filling in any gaps of the ownerships and stuff around the district? Yeah, like here we've got Mopala land currently in progress, and then there was like the Smithfield cricket pitch. Yeah, we've got to grasp that why the people.
So there's multiple 9.2. This is the 9.2 on page 4. This is the problem with the way things come back. 2 different meetings. So this is on page 4 or page 282. 9.2 council 1610 land and building asset review.
Yeah, that one's.
Is there any reflection that block we done it for it?
I'm now working through.
So we got more than.
I think it's going to be a hardest piece of string thing until I've actually.
Yeah.
Something to ground.
I mean, I know it's difficult, but eventually we will know how much crown land there is in the area and how much land we actually own. It's nice.
I think the ownership that we have is up, I'm pretty comfortable with and confident with.
That should, yeah.
That is correct.
Yep.
It's the crown land stuff that I'm still working through.
Which is a little opaque.
Yeah.
Just you might speed up the process by actually asking people that can take it and them what's happened. It's in the Smithfield cricket pitch. It's still, you said the other week it was still in, I don't know, Crown land or something. And the farms now, so, but he should know what's the title with it. I think.
There was a Crown where people were farming it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's owners training ones, but yeah.
But what I'm saying, just because Adelaide has a process, the person who's doing it, must know something.
Should know something.
Yeah.
Potentially,
Just what the history and what it is.
It's title, just title.
On the way. Is it, I wonder if it's not something we could also ask through government channels. Hey, this is too big for a single guy sitting in a thing to try and unravel all of this, but it would be nice for the future prosperity of our district. If you guys could supply one fee instead of a per unit fee, what would you charge to actually go through the whole joint and give us the list? Well, I'm actually suggesting we ask them to do it, and can we do that through the chamber to say, oh, because again, I refer back, our local members asked us if there are things they can help with. Well, this can help.
Yeah, would be.
You know, can you go knock on the door somewhere and say, hey, can you do this work for us at no cost? Not saying they're going. It's just work. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I've got a couple in there. So 10.2 page 1, which is the clay-based discussion paper has been completed. Reading the report from the last meeting, it still left me, I mean, there were questions I wrote down at that meeting, which was, it hasn't considered the other options of, you know, banned ballots being rolled in, reduced fee limit with that, or the bigger question is how does a landowner apply for that, and how do we transparently as a chamber or you guys as an administration administer that request? So if 5 people apply for it and there's no funds to do it or funds to do, you know, a fifth of what's there, how does that get adjudicated and what? Because otherwise, if we come up with something, well, there's 242 Ks of Clay Road, guess what? If we make it easy, everyone will apply for it. If we make it hard, no one will apply for it. We want to find out what the real way to apply for it. Is there a commercial? So I kind of wanted to say, look, I'm not convinced that's complete. I accept what Ben presented and I'm not doubting that. I ripped it out of my last agenda, but I just think there's, just for me, for my comfort, there's more to do on that yet. I don't feel we've got a policy this week we can deliver.
Taking no action with what Ben suggested, like, got the report and that's about it, sort of gone, isn't it?
So through the chair, how I see it is when we get the information back from the road condition order, we're going to create a road asset management plan. So that will be in more detail what you're going to do with new roads and I'll go in the asset management plan. So if we want to do something with the clay road, we can then put in there to say I think the roads should roll that together. Potentially better definition.
I would disagree with that being one that moved the motion, but I would probably rather see this remain until we have closed that out, because then we will be able to do, because the biggest thing for me, to be all honest, honestly, is the piece about how does a constituent apply to have their right, because we're never going to have the money to go just willy-nilly up the plate. It's going to be how they set and how is that adjudicated inside of council. What the criteria is? It economic output? Is it land use change? Like what's the deal? So I'm not trying to I'm not saying this needs to be done. We'll wait until all that stuff happens. But to me, that means it's not done because I don't have the final solution. If someone come to me tomorrow and argued that their clay road's not being upgraded, I wouldn't be able to tell them any differently what the treatments are. Can we consider anything other than a sheet of road? So that was one. And I had page 9 or 287, page 9 of the report, 13.1. Sorry to you again, Ben. We have complete for the council resolve to go to market competitive tender for contracted services. We have done that, but later on you've got another one. So I think maybe when I read it, it's probably you've now got a new resolution on a new report on there, which I think remains open for the next. No, it's not in this actually. Somewhere you've got the fact that we're going to go to the market in 6 months' time and do all these other things. I'm 6 and 7 as to whether that means that item is closed or whether it's just that we didn't get an outcome and we're going to go back in 6 months' time. That makes sense.
Through the chair, double checking. We should have a resolution on there for the outcomes of.
No, that one's complete as well, actually. Sorry, I found it. So 11.6 on page 21. That one also shows as complete. So I just worry that if nothing is incomplete here in progress, we won't let it disappear, but it's officially not on the list anymore.
Through the chair, 11.6 should remain on.
Okay, so 11.6 remains open and no one stays closed. I'm happy with that. Yeah. Yeah, cool. I'm happy with that. 11.6 is on page 21 or 290. Yeah. Opening for curbside collection service.
Just a quick on page 286. Got there, we had this Snapchat snapped things for 9 months. Okay, for 9 month period, it's only 6 months.
We brought it in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I brought it forward.
Okay.
And that's mine. And the third one, Ben, sorry you again. Page 10, 288, council subsidies for local clubs. We did have the report come back and covered up water and power. But the original intent of that was bigger than that. It was what do we do in total for clubs and that. So I don't know whether that's whether we just bring a new motion to extend that out or whether this one remains open. Because it sort of moves away from your territory, probably more into, I don't know, this territory, maybe Shiloh's. Because it was about understanding what we do in totality for all of our clubs. So see, firstly, have we got uniformity? And then to quantify what we're doing for everybody as a quantity.
Yeah. Okay, we can bring a spreadsheet forward.
Yeah, so I think we can just have that one. Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah,
Stay open. If you're happy with that. Yeah. That's fine. Thank you. I was last. Anything else, Neville? Right. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Questions on notice? Don't have any. Sorry. Have you got a question on notice? No, no. Your motions on notice? No, we don't have any questions without notice.
I'm not sure.
Question or statement, but we've been going through the process of the asset, working out what they all are. And then we're trying to sell something off when we haven't, we should have had all our other stuff done. Before we start selling stuff off and creating a system, so that's probably a statement rather than a question.
Wasn't expecting the fellow up.
No, we've been like 2.5, 3 years trying to work out what we own and we still don't. The whole idea.
Yeah.
Well, we've only just got everything in order, so we've got Jason here now, we've got Ben, everything's running a hell of a lot better.
So, thank you. Motions without notice. Yep. So what I want to do, you've got something live. You got something, yeah, a different time. Andrew, I'm happy to change. Yeah, all good. Okay. Thank you. That's in the stream.
We'll just do the mood.
I'll move the confidentiality. So not going to read all that. Confidential item, appointment of external auditor, recommendation that we comply with all the regulations. Mover was Neville, seconder, scratching his head.